That's sourdough Sam.
No, Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Disrespect to Sourdeath Sam will not continue.
What's up, muchachos? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, everyone. It's been a minute. Took a little break for Thanksgiving, but I am back. For those of you just joining us for the first time, this is 49ers Public Access, and I am Sourdeath Sam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I wish I was here with better things to talk about. It's like showing up to the doctor's office and all they're going to do is just give you bad news. And it's kind of the story of most of the season. One of the analogies that I have used quite frequently this season is like when you're at the casino and you just can't seem to hit, where you pulled out all this money, you had so much, big aspirations. The last time you were in the casino, you were up big. And now it just doesn't have that same aura. You're showing up to the blackjack table, you're striking out. You're showing up to the slots, you're striking out. You might get a little win here and there, but you just know luck is not on your side. And that's sort of the feeling I get watching this team this season. A 10-35 loss to the Buffalo Bills in the snow with mistakes galore. And for some teams, that might be a game that fuels them to want to fight back and strike right at the heart of their enemy so they can assert their dominance. But these games keep happening, and these mistakes keep happening. And it's not just special teams anymore. It's happening all over the place. And so truthfully, it's hard to know how to feel. It's hard to know how to digest this. And I think the conclusion that I've come to is we need to cease feeling as though this team is destined for a Super Bowl. If you didn't already lose, if you already didn't cease to believe that, cease to believe it now. Because the sooner you do that, the more you'll be able to enjoy the rest of the season. You need to look at this season differently now. We are no longer in Super Bowl or bust mode. We now just kind of have to be behind the team for a moral support at this stage. Now, is there an opportunity? Is there a window? Is there a path to making the playoffs? The NFC West is so fucked up right now that the answer is actually yes. But it's not about the mathematics of probability here as far as what team could lose in tight race and we're only a couple games behind. It's the tying together of the whole season in what we've seen and the colossal, humiliating mistakes that just keep stacking on top of each other, and same with the injuries that keep stacking on top of each other. And unfortunately, due to off-the-field tragedies that almost certainly are weighing on the hearts of a lot of these players. So the best thing we can do at this stage, in my opinion, and this is probably not popular amongst the folks out there who want a Super Bowl this season, but bad news. We're not going back.
Yes, sir.
We're not going back.
Sir.
We're not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back to the Super Bowl, folks. Not this year. So the sooner you get used to that, the better. Let's get behind these boys. The season's almost over. If we make the playoffs, so be it. You got to reframe your mindset. I'm just saying. Look, there's one person on this planet. There's one person on this planet who I think is capable of having a conversation about this on a deep level right now. You know him. You might love him. He was expensive. Kyle 5000. Hey, Kyle. How you doing?
Yeah, man, everything just all fucking sucks.
Yeah.
All my players are hurt. Everyone's just down in the dumps. The shit stinks.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, dude. But on the bright side, we do have Bret Rumbeck coming onto the show. How you feel about that?
Well, at least that makes me happy. I mean, I love Bret. Avid film watcher. Appreciate his insights and looking forward to having him on the show.
Yes, sir.
Me too, man. Me too. We got a lot of show ahead. I'm going to let you go, man. Go ahead and go into sleep mode. I will see you soon. All right, folks. I got more bullshit to get into before we bring on our special guests. Let's see. First and foremost, here's one thing you can do when the 49ers are not in the playoffs or the Super Bowl. You can still bet. You can bet. You can spend money to maybe make money, because that's what sports betting is all about. And every week I have a $5 pick'em where I can win over $1,000 if I hit. These are all touchdowns. I have all these players getting touchdowns. If you're just joining us, I don't ever win these, but I market them anyways. I got Josh Jacob getting a tutty, Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Brock Bowers, George Pickens. This one's controversial. Nick Chubb. He was curiously absent from the running game, but still got a touchdown last week. So, I see the same story this week. Jonnu Smith, who's been on a tear, folks. I got to hit the yes, sir button for that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I picked him up on a fantasy team that is not going to make the playoffs. So it was like net negative. So Marvin Harrison, I also got him getting a touchdown. So if I hit, I get over $1,000, about $1,600 to be exact. And $5 is not a lot to put down to make that much potentially. So if you want some of this action, bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam, put your own roster together. If you win, if you hit, let me know. I will celebrate you. And your first deposit, by the way, if you use this code bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam, is matched in bonus cash up to $1,000, baby. Go get it. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What's popping? All right, look. I tapped in with some spirits to get a glimpse into our future. And for those who don't know, I can be a soulful guy. I can be a spiritual man. But I tapped in with an expert. And she read some tarot cards about the 49ers future. And I think it's important to share this with you. Now, this is very real. This is someone I have never met before, but that I trust with all my heart. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a first edition of 49ers Tarot.
Namaste, and a very warm welcome to you, Sam. Thank you so much for choosing Dream Future, where I can read your energies and answer all your questions, my dear. While shuffling, I will be meditating so that I can get connected to the higher divine. So the first question is, will the 49ers make it to the playoffs this year? Wheel of Fortune, yes, they will be able to make this year, playoffs this year. So, what I understand, this is a football, if I am not wrong. I'm very bad at sports, I'm so sorry about it. But what I understand is, it's just a thin line between getting in and getting out. No cross for getting in. The second question is Brock Purdy the 49ers franchisee quarterback of the future? Okay. 10 of Swords and the 3 of Pentacles. No, my dear. Brock Purdy, the 49ers franchisee quarterback of the future. No, he's not Brock. The last is, will Kyle Shanahan lead the 49ers to winning a Super Bowl? Okay. 9 of Cups and the Judgment. Kyle is going to be very lucky to the team. Will Kyle lead? The question is this. No. Kyle is not going to lead. It's again, which I see here, is the difference of 1 or 2 points only. Just that much difference that I see here. But Kyle being in the team is definitely going to be a lucky charm. He's a lucky charm, which I definitely see. But Kyle is not going to lead the 49ers to winning a Super Bowl. It will be somebody else. Thank you so much and namaste.
Wow. Well, there you have it. So to just recap, the 49ers will make the playoffs. So put that in your fucking pipe and smoke it.
Yes, sir.
Brock Purdy will not be the franchise quarterback of the future. And Kyle, classic Kyle, will be a lucky charm for this team, but will not lead us to a Super Bowl. I am sure there are some analysts who could have told us that a million times over, but I'm bringing someone on right now who's going to give us his own take as to whether or not these things could be true. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Bret Rumbeck! What's up, buddy?
Tower, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, Brett?
Can't complain.
Good, man. Well, I'm curious. So obviously, you had a chance to listen to my colleague associated with the spiritual world. I'm curious to know. Just quick rapid fire. Do you think the 49ers are going to make the playoffs?
No.
Do you think that Brock Purdy is the quarterback of the future?
Well, Sunday's the future, so yeah.
All right. And then, do you think that Kyle Shanahan will lead us to the Super Bowl?
Yes.
All right. Hold on. Good enough for me, baby. All right. Well, we got a lot to cover. But let's start with the Bills, because the Bills make us pay. 49ers blow another important game. Colossal stinker, 10-35. Mistakes galore. It's sort of hard to go into this recap and speak about such a sad, disappointing, dispiriting performance. But sort of, what were your general takeaways after seeing what you saw?
So I got lucky enough to see it in person in the snow. It was depressing. Hard to say anything else. It was a different style of football. I'd never seen a snow game before. So both sides was very deliberate. Like, you'd watch the punter gunners line up, and it was like they're trying to dig in, and the way they get off the ball was far slower than you'd normally see. But Buffalo seemed primed in the snow, like it was no big deal. And there were moments during the game where it felt like San Francisco was just very lost. Not an excuse. I mean, obviously you can't practice for that, but they just didn't look great live. There were moments where I thought, okay, they're going to come back, they're going to drive something, and it just, one thing wasn't leading to another. I was texting my friends and you guys saying, oh, well, there goes Givens, there goes CMC, this happened. It was just after I guess maybe after McCaffrey's injury, it felt like, okay, this isn't going to happen. But yeah, and then I rewatched the tape over the last 24 hours, and there were parts of it that weren't horrible. I think they had like 153 yards on the ground. Some really good runs, some clever designs with Buffalo's linebackers playing aggressive. Obviously, the pass game wasn't there. Handful of drops. The routes weren't crisp. Purdy had at one point Ricky open on a low cross. Looks like they ran a Yankee concept, and Persall just fell, flat out slipped. Now I don't know if he would have completed the pass, but that kind of summed up the day for me. And then another one was, I don't remember who it was. It was hard to see, but the 49ers defensive lineman just flat out slipped during the game. And the Buffalo fans around me are just pointing him out like they just can't do anything. So it was tough to watch live. Yeah,
no kidding. It was hard enough to watch it in the comfort of my home at 71 degrees next to a beautifully lit Christmas tree, to be in the snow, to be in the midst of drunk Bills fans just raging at the expense of our team falling apart. Just disastrous. And to your point, I mean, Pearsall slipping when he was open, maybe getting a big play. So classic 2024 Niners. I mean, it's such a apt just analogy to how this whole season has felt. It's just clever design here, great opportunities there, fell short because of X, Y, and Z. 3 out of 10 on third downs isn't going to cut it. 1 out of 3 field goals isn't going to cut it. 3 fumbles is not going to cut it. And yet here we are. We keep the Bills didn't even blitz the whole game. They're the third team in like the history of NFL Next Gen stats. Since NFL Next Gen stats have been recorded, they are only the third team who did not blitz during game because they said we're good. We got it just like this. And it's frustrating, not just because it feels like the elements beat us. It feels like we beat ourselves again. I think perhaps the only bright spot when you look at the scope of this game is that at least Ben Bartch played pretty well filling in for Aaron Banks, who is on the final season of his rookie contract. We don't know where they're going to invest, but if Ben Bartch wanted a job interview, being a bright spot in an absolutely humiliating game is at least a way to separate himself in a situation where he may be very well auditioning for a future job here.
Yeah, I know. As a fan of the show, I know you have the dog of the day, and I don't want to get ahead of the script. But I would like to put Bartch up for a dog of the day nomination.
Hold on. What's that? What's that noise?
Big dog. Big dog. Dog of the day.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the big dog, Ben Bartch. Go ahead. I'll let you cook.
So let's not steal the homie Brad Graham's thunder. But Bartch played really well. Brad had some good cut-ups of Bartch and some zone plays where he wasn't covered or he would pop the outside shoulder and go the second level. I only saw him give up one hurry, but Pro Football Focus said it was a hurry and a pressure. I can't count to 5, so sure, I'll go with that. They gave him an overall grade of 78.8, and I think that was the second highest behind Puny as an overall offensive line grade. I didn't see any issue from the guy. They pulled him, I think, on the opening play. Yeah, they called 16 stutter, which is a gap run that attacks inside to off tackle on the weak side without the F blocking the linebacker. They gained 2 on it, but I mean, you open with your rookie guy pulling, and I don't think Bartch has played since or started a game since 23. So considering what they were facing, the field, the cold, the snow, his lack of total experience in the system, if you're looking for things to hang on to, Bartch played very well. And Puny had a great bounce back game. I don't think he gave up any hurry or any pressure or a sack. So, they did well on an interior.
Yeah. And again, a bright spot much needed. It was hard to think of a dog of the day. But if you're going to be the only bright spot, then that's the reward you get. It's a consolation prize at best at this stage. Obviously, another result of this game is we have since effectively been left with an empty backfield. A 1-2 punch to the gut of losing Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason all in one fell swoop. And thus, we honor Isaac Guerendo as our starting running back, featuring the newly signed Israel Abinakanda. So how is this going to affect the offense at this stage? Are we just limping into the possibility of just rewiring this whole playbook a little bit, or do we stay the course?
It's a good question. I think Guerendo's proved that he could run and he can run the offense. I think there were moments throughout the season where he's run the ball just as well as Mason has and just as well as McCaffrey has. Sure, he's made some errors, a couple pass blocking errors. His first couple runs, I remember this season, he wasn't pressing his landmark on the outside zone runs. So on those outside zone runs, let's just say it's going to the right. All the offensive linemen are going to go to the right. Well, the running back is part of that. And so you want him going in that same direction, pressing 3 to 5 steps before he decides to make a cut. Garendo was way too quick on a couple of those early runs. He'd take 2 steps and not read it right. If you gave it one more second, he would have had a break. But he quickly learned. I mean, we saw in that Seattle game earlier in the season where he was just dominating. He had the 15-yard touchdown run, late in the game or whenever it was. I don't remember exactly when. I think he was just short of 20 yards rushing, maybe 25. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm excited to see him run the ball a little bit more. I got to tell you, I've never heard of the guy they just signed, and that was an impressive attempt at his last name.
Yeah, I didn't want to butcher it. And to your point, I mean, in the first Seattle matchup, 99 yards, most of it coming off of a big chunk play, and then 85 yards against Dallas as a backup. So there is some promise here. I think probably the missed blocking assignments is probably a major reason why it hasn't been featured as much, I would imagine. I mean, that is obviously very important to Kyle. The machine needs to run as finely tuned, allegedly, as it can. And at this point, Garendo's probably the most qualified person left. So hopefully the assignments do not get missed. Hopefully he can build upon the performances he has put forth thus far. 5.9 yards average per carry thus far this season. Not bad, but I think with more attempts, perhaps he can get that number up, especially if he's knowing where he needs to go, especially if the offensive line can hold together a little bit. But we'll see. And as far as Israel, seems like more of a prospect than a proven product. I mean, he was on the Jets, but we didn't see much of him at all. We're effectively going off his college tape to sort of formulate an idea of what kind of runner he is. But was an All-American, was All-ACC for what it's worth, So we shall see. I'm very curious to see how this goes. But I do wonder his chops as a pass-catching back because, that's one hole Christian McCaffrey left behind, and I don't think we're going to be able to fill it.
No, I think you're right. And the upside is nobody has maybe very little film on the guy.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something he does well. Maybe he does a perimeter run well. Maybe he is great on a screen. Who knows? You never know. He could just show up and get 50 yards, on the ground, or 50 yards catching the ball. No clue. So it's, some of these backs in Shanahan's system, you just kind of point them in the right direction. And so far, they haven't played poorly. I don't remember a back in his tenure that we've thrown him out there and it's just been a complete disaster.
True. We've had undrafted running backs just look like they're ready for a Hall of Fame career. Matt Breida looked incredible.
I was just thinking of him in that Browns game a couple years ago where I don't know what season it was, but he opened up with like a huge run. Out of nowhere. It just felt like out of nowhere. So, they've got a way to just take these running backs and say, okay, this is the idea. Be patient, read your gaps and take your break and make it happen.
Well, here's hoping that we can stitch together a run game. As I said at the top of the show, I think I'm looking at this season through a different lens. I think I'm less like, go, go, go. We got to make the playoffs. And at this stage, it's kind of, whatever will be, will be. I think the culmination of injuries, tragedies, mistakes, at this point, it feels as though the only choice we have left as fans is to just be fans and to stop putting expectations on this thing. Can Garendo make it happen? He has had enough moments where he has impressed us as a rookie that at this point, let it ride, get him some snaps, and at minimum, just build up his confidence, build up his resume and his body of work, and it's only going to help the team. It's his rookie season. Get him snaps, get him experienced, and look, if Israel's probably going to get a lot more snaps than he would have had before as well. So who knows? Maybe we'll give Second year Israel, an opportunity to really maximize his tape as well. Any last thoughts on the backfield before we hop into true or false?
Let's hop into true or false.
True or false? Let's do it. True or false, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we break down topics in the 49ers sphere that are hotly debated, hotly contested, and we decide whether or not it is true or false. I start with a controversial first true or false question, or rather statement. The 49ers should trade Christian McCaffrey if they can this offseason.
False. Like false times a million. They're going to have to, my friends and I were just talking about this the other day. They're going to have to make some tough decisions. I would not make McCaffrey. McCaffrey is an easy decision. You keep him.
Let me be devil's advocate here. Before I reveal my answer, I'm just going to be devil's advocate. Bret, the man is almost 30. Another injury season. Entered the season with an injury, left the season with a different injury. He's got enough hot seasons recently where he can still be attractive to a potential bidder. Let's start anew. We have one of the leading rushers in the league, leading the league in breaking tackles, sitting right behind him. Why don't we just go with Jordan Mason? How do you respond?
I would say send a man to Germany for the entire offseason and stick him in the tank from Star Wars where Luke regenerates, for a bit. I can't remember the name of it. A blanket.
Cryogenic tube or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, it was something. Anyway, stick him in that. Maybe you send him some of your spa music.
I like that.
Get him just worked, a yoga retreat. The nice lady you had on the tarot reading. I think 100%. That she would be lovely to talk to.
Super chill.
Yeah. So I think you take a little German science. I think you take some spa, a little Eastern medicine, roll it all into one, get this man good to go. I say no. That's even with your devil's advocacy, I still say you keep McCaffrey.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you shouting out. Her name is Cream Future. If you would like tarot readings, I encourage you to look up Cream Future. Beware the results. I also say false. And I especially say false if you're going to trade Deebo Samuel. Look, when Christian McCaffrey came in, he sort of snuck into some of the things that we paid Deebo extra to do. His whole stance that offseason, right, was, well, I'm not a wide receiver. I'm a wide back. I'm a new position. And then Kyle basically got someone to be like, well, okay, let's just pretty much make you a wide receiver right now. We see him sometimes in the backfield. Let's not, I don't need nerds in my fucking mentions sending me tape of Deebo in the backfield this season. But comparatively to the season where we ended up paying him, totally different story. He's just too valuable. He's incredible route runner. He's just too valuable to let go. Give him his. I don't want to bring him back this. If we're in the playoffs, sure, but just at this stage, you got to let him just get 100% again.
I'm with you,
because when he's 100%, he's so lethal. I mean, I started to see, and you were there in person. Maybe you can either shoot this down or corroborate. But I started to see glimpses of old CMC again at the beginning of that game. I was like, ooh, okay. He's looking like a little bit more like a gazelle. Like he's out there, he's floating, he's kind of doing the things that I loved watching him do. And then he got hurt, right? So on one hand, another season, he entered hurt, left hurt, basically. But I'm a sucker, man. I'm an optimist. If we get CMC full strength, this team is what it's supposed to be. I mean, I think Kyle waited damn near his whole career to have a running back like him. I don't think he's glue factory material yet.
No. And to end this question on a take that'll probably get swords drawn on me, I'm kind of over the Deebo Samuel in the backfield experiment. I don't really dig it anymore. It was cool. I'd rather see him on low, shallow crosses. I'd rather see him on a screen. The backfield stuff, it doesn't do it for me anymore.
Totally agree. All right, next statement. For 2 first-round picks, 49ers should trade Kyle Shanahan. True or false?
No, false. No. I started, when you asked me to come on, I started scratching out some notes. Oddly, when you brought up at the beginning of the show about gambling, I was working on my article for my own site, and I talked about playing blackjack.
That's funny.
So anyway, in some of these notes, I get if you think you want Shanahan gone, if you want him fired, that's fine. That's your choice as a fan. But I think we need to ground this season in reality. And the reality was the wheels were never screwed on this team this year. We want to believe that that any sports franchise you follow starts a season and they're geared up and they're ready to go and it's their time to win. But it wasn't the 49ers reality. We should have seen that coming. There's a mathematical wave teams ride for the Browns, for the Jets. They're constantly on the black hole gravity suck of depression. The Lions were on that for thousands of years, and they've now found a way out of it. We saw the Pats ride a great wave for about 2 decades. The half-assed franchise in Seattle had a couple good years, and now they linger around average. And the Niners have been off and on this wave since 2011. Mm-hmm. I get it. You want to say, hey, the buck stops with Shanahan, and I agree to that to a point. But everything this team's gone through this year, some of it has nothing to do with coaching, and it has everything to do with just horrid luck. The personal tragedies, you mentioned it, the total seriousness. I don't remember the last time I've seen an NFL franchise have a player shot and then players go through some serious stuff mid-season. So I don't think the wheels were ever screwed on this team. I don't think there's any amount of coaching that could have put the screws on tighter, the lug nuts on tighter. The Jets game, I think, gave us hope. It was nice to see us, beat the brakes off Dallas for the most part, but I just don't think they had it. And getting rid of or trading Kyle Shanahan is not the answer.
Yeah, false. I mean, what are we going to do with those first two first rounds picks? We're gonna blow it, per usual.
Yeah.
Kyle's probably one of the few things we've done right with this franchise. I am what they call, I guess, a Shanistan. I shudder in fear to think about what life would be like with Kyle Shanahan on a rival NFC West team, on a team that is built to win, because don't take these NFC championships for granted. Don't take these Super Bowl visits for granted. Okay, we didn't get all the way. I understand that. We're also butt up against one of what might be one of the most dominant franchise dynasties in the history of the NFL. Wake up. This is Pat Mahomes. I'm sorry we don't have Pat Mahomes. I'm sorry we're not the Chiefs. We're dealing with Andy Reid, who is also a coach scorned and moved on to a team where he made things happen. Now, obviously the Eagles got their trophy and they're happy with that, but I'd rather have Andy Reid as my coach than Nick Sirianni. So that's false. I don't want Kyle Shanahan gone. And look, there's people who can make compelling arguments as to why he should be gone. I get it. That's fine. I'm not that person. I don't want to trade him. The 2 first-round picks aren't worth it, because if he goes to another team, we're going to end up with God knows who, and we're going to deal with this bullshit all over again. Harbaugh, 1 of 1. Kyle Shanahan, 1 of 1. There's not a lot of one of one guys out there. So quit playing. Stop it. False. My opinion. All right. Last one. The 49ers should tank the rest of the season. True or false?
False. I don't get the tank for a draft pick. I mean, think about how much time there is between now and April. When is the draft? Late April? I don't even know the date.
Yeah, late April.
How many things change by who the supposed first round pick is between now and April? We don't know what's going to happen in the bowl games. The Senior Bowl often changes positions that we don't know about. How many times have we watched, not even Shanahan, but other coaches say, oh, I watched Sourdeath at the Senior Bowl, and I didn't really know him, but I shot the breeze with him. I liked his football knowledge, and all of a sudden, Sauer goes from 5th round to 3rd. We don't know how any of that's going to work out. What's it going to do? Again, we could go back to everybody can have an opinion on what the 49ers need. I think they need a right tackle. I think they need a center. Tanking for that's not going to happen, in my opinion. I'd say win it out. Help get some of these guys mentally back in there. Maybe with everything that's gone on this year, some wins would be good for these guys just to rebound. Something to hang on to, something positive. And plus, I don't think a guy like Trent Williams is like, yeah, I'm just going to go out there and tank it. You're a professional athlete. I've never seen a professional athlete just be like, and I'm sure it's happened. Don't get me wrong, but the hell with it. I'm not going to go play. I don't want to win anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also false on this. I think we're not that deep in the market for a quarterback. Like, sure, Brock Purdy, you can have your questions. Technically, he's got another season on contract. But we're not bottom of the barrel team competing to get QB1 in the draft. I think we're sort of just naturally tanking. I don't think we need any intention behind it. And I think you're right. I think it would be really nice for these players to get a little bit of wind in their sails and feel like it gets them confidence, right? I mean, I think that they came into the season with every analyst and their mother saying, Super Bowl is going to be 49ers Chiefs again, or at least 49ers it's 49ers Lions in the NFC Championship, right? It's like they had us right up there because on paper, sure, that makes sense. I'm sure a lot of people in Vegas put bets on that, but truthfully, we're here now, and it's not even that I doubt. On top of the injuries, you've got all these tragedies. So even if some of these players are not quitters, and they're not, and even if some of these players would fight through adversity, which they will, at a certain point, the gravity of life is just sucking away your heart, your attention, your soul. And it's just, you look around the locker room and it's just like, it looks like an infirmary in the wrong place of the battlefield. And I don't doubt that they have the will to fight. I don't doubt that they have the coaches to succeed. The question is will the things that have gone wrong continue to compound on top of each other? Or will there finally be a break of daylight where momentum can have fertile ground to actually build and see the light of day? I don't know.
I'm with you. And to kind of tie a bow on this, I don't think they ever brought in a real game changer in the offseason this last year. They seem to get wrapped up in the re-signing of Ayuk, and then they had the Williams holdout, and they feel like they're trying to win, or they tried to win a Super Bowl this year with a pretty tired roster. I mean, I can't think of the names they brought in, not in the draft. I mean, don't get me wrong. Dominic Puni's a great pick. He was a great find. I'm not knocking that pick, but you didn't bring in anybody that was like, oh yeah, you're a rejuvenating person on defense. Campbell's not a good linebacker.
Correct.
I mean, even the Bills fans around me, when we were shooting the breeze, were like, yeah, that guy's not good. They didn't bring in anybody. When they brought in McCaffrey, game-changing move. But who did they bring in this last offseason that was like, yeah, you're going to make a big difference on this team? The answer is no one. So I think that they don't need to tank. They've got to relook at how they acquire players and how they acquire talent in the offseason, whether that be free agents or whether that be slightly better scouting in the draft, especially in the upper rounds. I think there's some serious soul searching. And when they go to Cabo this year, go ahead and have your margarita, have your Corona, enjoy the fish taco, take a deep sea dive. But somewhere over a dinner and some wine, you guys have got to figure out how you're going to rebuild a roster. And sometimes that's going to make hard decisions.
Cook.
Yes, sir.
They should not tank the rest of the season, but they might anyways. I'll tell you what, though. It either will or will not happen starting next week against the Chicago Bears. Yes, that's right. We still have more football to play. The road to the Super Bowl starts now. So we play the Chicago Bears. What are you looking for in this matchup?
I think just an overall bounce back. I know that's a broad answer and not very definitive, but they haven't played well in 2 weeks, like at all. I think you got to get down to, can you tackle? Can you stop a run? Can you make a hold? Can you take it longer than 3 and out? Again, knowing it was the weather, that's fine, and it was the end of the game and they probably wanted to leave. But the Bills drained the clock in the fourth quarter from the 7:55 mark on. Again,
Correct.
It was 35-10. You got to find a way to just start getting back to fundamental football. And it didn't snow in Green Bay and they look like garbage. They just got trounced. So I think overall, I would like to see this team return to, we can drive the ball, get Kyle back to some of these real staple plays that get Purdy moving, the snag concepts. They did run drift once. But I haven't seen much snag from him this year, although Rich will probably watch this and tell me that I'm wrong, and that's fine. Get something on there that, like the crossing routes. I really love those. That seems to work. You get Debo on the move, get Ricky on the move, get Jennings on the move. Just something that gets this team back in a rhythm. And even if it's just, hey, we're going to take 6 yards of play, fine. 3 yards in a cloud of dust here and there, fine. Get them moving, get them in a positive direction. Every play, build from that. Same on defense. I'm not as strong on defense when I watch my tape, so I'm not going to try to make any type of like, hey, they need to be in a cover 3 shell or they need to run Mabel or cover 6 or whatever. But they can't tackle at all. I mean, I don't know what did they miss 20 tackles in the Green Bay game? I don't remember if that something like that. They couldn't tackle last week either. You saw what Cook did with them. So somehow with just a few weeks left, you got to get back to some real fundamental football. So I get to go with some friends this week. Zach's in the room tonight, so I'll be there with him. So I'm looking forward to a good time with my boys, but at the same time, I want to see them get back to, hey, this is how we play. This is how we play. We're going to set up some play action with a good solid ground game. We're going to hit some quick passes. We're going to stretch the field vertically and go from there. I'd love to see him hang 30 on the Bears just because I love seeing 30 points on the board.
So you're going to Chicago to watch this game?
No, it's in San Francisco.
Oh, that's right. Thank God. Thank God. Because if it was another fucking snow game, I'd kill myself. That's right. Yeah, look. Again, to tack on a somewhat generic answer onto a somewhat generic answer, they just need to fucking have fun playing football again. I mean, it kind of feels like when I go, shout out Grant Cohn, my fellow friend golfer who I've not yet golfed with, but he and I talked about this. We're like, I played a game of golf that was so bad. Look, I'm not good to begin with, but I played a game of golf that was so bad that it like traumatized me because I spent the whole game trying to shoot the best game of my life. Like I was just trying to just shoot under par every hole. And the more I thought about it and the more I didn't, the more angry I got. And sometimes you just need to get back on the course and just be like, you know what? I'm going to just one swing at a time. If I make a mistake, I'm not going to just, go on a rampage at myself. I need to be patient with myself, but I need to do my job and just take it one play at a time. And I think we as fans and probably them as players, as much as they always say like one game at a time, we're focused on this team. I guarantee you at the beginning of the season, they were kind of eyeballing New Orleans. Like, oh, I wonder like what the weather's out there. Like, I wonder, it's probably sick out there for the Super Bowl. Like it's already a good time when it's not the Super Bowl. And I feel like as that dream started to dim, I'm sure there was like an anger inside them. In this particular, the Bills game, that felt like the must win. It did. And so now we have a game where mathematically we still have the opportunity to get in the playoffs, but they just need to go into this game and just try to have fun playing football. They need to get the vibes back up. They need to tackle. And let's not make no mistake. I'm not saying just like, oh yeah, bro, like play some djembe, light some sage, just like, jaw out. No, man, you got to like actually do your job, but they need to go out there, execute, have a good time, and feel like they're getting into a rhythm, because it just, by the end of that Bills game, I'm like, who the fuck is this team? It's maybe the ugliest game of 49ers football I have ever seen in the recent Shanahan era. Like maybe one of the ugliest games by the end of it. It just looked like a fucking Three Stooges football game. Just mistake after mistake after mistake, missed tackle, just endless. So I beg of them, just go out there, string together a game with as few mistakes as possible, and at least just make it close. Don't get blown out again. I can't deal with that. It's just like my heart can't take that.
I'm with you. Get a pick six.
Get a pick six. Humiliate Caleb Williams, dude. He's a rookie still. All right, get in his head. You got the capacity to do that.
Levi's would blow up if they got a pick six. I think that would just be like, okay, we've got it, and find a way to keep that momentum. I've seen it a couple times this year where the struggling defense has made a big stop, and then the offense they take the momentum and flush it.
Totally.
Grab it. As Doc Brown says, harness the lightning. Stick it.
100%. Harness the fucking lightning. I'm begging you guys.
Yes, sir.
Last thoughts, 49ers Bears, before we go into our last and final segment of affirmations.
Any last thoughts? Oh, I'm just really looking forward to a beer with my guys.
Yeah, man.
That's my thought. That's my thought. We tailgate. We get there early. We're drinking Modelo's and, getting some Sandos.
Hell yeah.
Kyle.
Yes, sir.
Try to jerry rig his phone to get a signal so we can watch Red Zone. We'll walk up and down the parking lot and just love the vibe that whatever row we pick, there's some party going on. So that's my last thought. I'm looking forward to it.
Hell yeah. Friendship, baby. Friendship. Perfect way to end that segment. All right. We are going into another perfect segue, which is affirmations. The only thing, what goes great with friendship? Affirmations. That's what I always say. If you are just joining me for the first time, if you've never seen the show, this is affirmations. This is the part of the show where we do what Twitter can't, which is say nice things about people. Hold on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm going to set the mood with the right music here.
Yes.
Here we go. Nice cathartic exercise here. All right. You are my special guest. I will let you go first. Who would you like to give an affirmation to?
My first affirmation for the day is not a person. It is a thing. Is that allowed?
Hell yeah.
I would like to give my affirmation to the sun. A warm beam of light that's 93 million miles from Earth, firing heated photons across the galaxy that fall gently on Earth. And I would like some warm photons to fall upon Levi's Stadium on Sunday. No rain, no snow, no hoarfrost. So my affirmation is the sun.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's a good one. The elements, they deserve love too. My affirmation goes to Isaac Arendo. Hey, look, man. Congratulations, your rookie season. Bet you didn't see this coming. You are the starting running back of the San Francisco 49ers. We are going to depend on you. And guess what? I think you're actually up for the challenge. I think at the beginning of preseason, beginning of the season, there's a little trepidation in your running. I saw it, but that's okay. You're just getting started. A lot of pressure. You're probably throwing up in the locker room before the game starts. But you're here now, and you're starting to get used to it. And I believe in you. Look, man, you got crazy speed. Crazy speed. Play that to your advantage. Kyle Shanahan will scheme you into a touchdown if you let him. So remember your assignments. Do what you got to do. Come in with some swag. Let's have some fun.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead. Take another one.
All right, I'm gonna flip a coin because I wrote down 3 total.
That's fine.
So I'm gonna go with another thing, but it's attached to a person. I figure there's no rules on this show, right? No rules.
There's never been rules on the show.
I didn't think so. My affirmation is for Deebo's Samuel's receivers gloves. We need Spider Tack to come through. I don't know if there's an NIL in the NFL, whatever you want to call it. Sponsor this man. Send him some Spider Tack. We need to start catching footballs. Now, again, one or a couple of them, a little behind, a little low, that's fine. But we got to catch some footballs. So, affirmation, Deebo Samuel's gloves with a little Spider Tack on them.
Spider attack. Need that shit for show. Need it big time. He needs to step up. But shout out George Kittle. He'll do his thing. I know it. That's what I'm looking for in the Bears matchup, by the way. Last one. I know he's an unpopular figure, but look, man, Jake Moody, you're still fucking important as shit, man. And we're going to need you to do your thing. You kicked the longest field goal in Super Bowl history for a minute. Just got to get that confidence back, man. I know you can do it. We need you. You're a part of this equation of a team that needs all 3 phases to bounce back. And I know you can. You were drafted in the 3rd round for a reason. So I believe in you, and you will do great things.
Yes, sir.
Harder to say that time than normal, but that's okay. I still meant it.
I know you did. You're a big fan.
I am. I'm going through some stuff right now, but I'm still a fan. Bret, where can people find you? I know you're posting film cut-ups. You're very humble about it, but your cut-ups are fantastic. And if people want to see those, where would they find you?
So I'm on the Twitters or the X or whatever they call it. Just at B Rumbeck. I am very proud to say that I have no sponsorships. I make no money. I have no subscribers. 0.0. I don't even have clicks. I don't have a way to register the clicks. So I just do this because it exercises my brain. So I'm on the Twitters, B Rumbeck, and I'm on the Blue Sky, whatever that is. Let me see what my name is here. Just Bret Rumbeck. I don't know if that's the place to be, but I hammered it down. Otherwise, I'm just hanging out. And if you don't like film clips, I post periodic things about heavy metal. I tried to find an obscure band to wear for Andrew, who likes my obscure band shirts. So I will post about obscure metal bands. This is a band from England. They do occult rock, occult metal, kind of got a little bit of a Sabbath vibe and a little bit of a 70s kind of underground garage band vibe. It's the bottom. I won't get up and show you, but it says pre-Christian rock. So, this is for Andrew. Try to find something obscure that he might like.
Well, there you have it. I heavily fuck with that sweater too. So you got a fan over here. Bret, appreciate you hopping on. I'm going to sign everyone off and get some dinner.
See you later.
See ya. All right, guys. Look, life is hard enough. You don't need to be bummed out about projecting your expectations onto this team. My advice for you this Sunday, just let go of the expectations. Let them go. And just watch. And if things aren't going well, don't take it too personally. Do what I do. Disassociate. Because the sooner you disassociate, the better that beer will taste. And if you win, reinvest a little bit. Be happy for the boys. They've been going through a lot. And I know your fantasy team's losing, but it's a lot harder for them than it is for you. All right. That's all I got to say. I love you guys. Have a good one. Go Niners.